מאיפה אתה? אני מאירופה. גם את מאירופה? לא, אני לא מאירופה. אני מדרום אמריקה. מאיזו עיר את? מבואנוס איירס. אני מפריז. האם בואנוס איירס באורוגוואי? לא, בואנוס איירס לא באורוגוואי. בואנוס איירס בארגנטינה.
Hello and welcome to today's lesson in Hebrew. So we just listened to the previous text. I included the Latin transcription here, so you can see what the characters mean in case you haven't studied the Hebrew letters yet, which is understandable and also fine, because I think it's my humble opinion, studying them later on, or as you go along, as you are studying and learning Hebrew, learning the characters, en passant is, in my opinion, a more effective way. It's also more intuitive because you know a few words. You know, as you can see here, if you take ani, for example, then you will notice, okay, ani, you have the aleph here, you have the n, the nun here, and the yod, the I, so the e sound. So, and you know, as you go along, as you keep, as you're reading along with the text, and you compare the letters to the Latin characters, you will notice certain, similarities and differences here. So it's easier, in my opinion, to do it this way, because you will notice, okay, this comes when there is a ge, and this looks like the character that always comes when there is an m, and then this way you will start recognizing the different characters, and this way you will learn them just like this, just by picking up the language. And I think it's more effective and more fun when you do it this way, than just by memorizing them in a list. That's just the way I see it, but some people like to learn them in order, in a list, which is also fine. You need to find your own way, basically, and whatever works best for you is, of course, highly appreciated. And you should go your own way, I think. I can give you some suggestions, the way I'm doing it, or I did it, and if you find a better way for you that works fine, that's fine with me, and I think that's good. There are many paths that lead to success, and especially in languages, which is highly individual, in my opinion, you should find your own way, and if you find a way that serves you better, that's good. So, because the thing is, I would like to teach you how to speak primarily, and this is why I don't place such a high emphasis on the characters, the writing system, because first and foremost, in my opinion, you should be able to understand, and you should be able to speak. So you can communicate with people immediately, and then, of course, as you go along, as you're studying the language, you will be able to read it, and you will be able to write it. Just by reading things, by trying to write things, that's no problem. In my opinion, writing comes second, because once you know a little bit of the language and you can express yourself, then of course things will be more fun, and you will have more fun talking to people and listening to the language than as opposed to if you don't understand anything, you don't know any words, any phrases, any sentences, and you have to memorize vocab, or you have to memorize the writing. In my opinion, that is not the best way, motivation-wise, to go about it. But like I said, different strokes for different folks. So with that said, let's jump into today's text. So Daniela starts out saying, let's take this again, sentence by sentence. She says, מאיפה אתה? Let's go down here and take a look at this, because this way we can, of course, we can take a look at this a little bit more closely. So Daniela says, מאיפה אתה? So, מאיפה means where. Okay, so literally this means me means from. So Daniela asks from, and a means where. So me means from, a means where. So literally it means from where. And atah means you. And the atah form is the form, the singular form. So when you're referring to one person. And it's also the masculine form when you're addressing a man. So since Daniela is talking to Paul, she's addressing him as a man. So she needs to use the masculine form, which is atah. Okay, there's another form in Hebrew that is called me'ain. Me'ain atah. That is more formal, and it's used in formal situations, in formal writing. But since we're focusing more on speaking, on conversational skills, we use the colloquial form me'efo. Just as a side note for those who come across the me'ain form. So me'efo atah, where are you from? Or literally, from where are you? A singular, one man, one person, one male person that is referred to. And as we can see, Paul is the one. We see Paul, the one being referred to, and he answers, Ani me Europa. Okay, so Ani, what does Ani mean? Ani means I. So I, and we saw the me just a minute ago in me'efo atah. Me means from. From where are you? And now he answers, Ani me Europa. I am, or I, from Europe. Again, in Hebrew we don't have a presence form of the verb to be. So this means when we want to say I am, whatever we want to say, for example, I am from Europe, we don't have a form of am, or you are, or he, she, it is, or whatever. We only have a future form and a past form, but no present tense form. So in this case, since we are expressing the sentence in the present tense, I am from Europe, we don't have any word for this, and we just omit the form of to be because it's non-existent. And we say, I from Europe, literally, Ani me Europa. Okay, next, gam at me Europa. So now the question, Paul returns the favor, or the question he asks, so are you also from Europe? Okay, so the new word we have here is the gam, or up here the gimel and the mem, sofit, gm, gam. The a is not written, so this is why it is in gray here. It's a g and an m, gam. So of course you have to know that it's not gem, it's not gim, it's gam. Okay, this is why this is how Hebrew gets interesting, because you kind of have to guess the vowels a little bit here. So in this case, the gm means gam, and it means also, or two with two o's, also. And at, he asks back Daniela if she is also from Europe. So gam at, and now we see we don't have the form atah, we have the form at here. So the you form is the feminine form now, the feminine singular form, yeah, because we are addressing one person. This is why it's going to be singular. And we're addressing a female, Daniela. So we have the at form. The corresponding male form was atah, and the corresponding female form is at. Gam at me-Europa, me, we saw here, from, and Europa, of course, is Europe. Okay, so I'm from Europe. Are you also from Europe? And what does Daniela answer? She says, well, lo, ani lo me-Europa, ani midrom, this is better, ani midrom Amerika. So, lo, notice the way we're writing it. Lo with an aleph means no. No. Ani, I. We know ani already. Ani means I. Ani lo me-Europa. Ani lo, I not. Me-Europa, we saw this here. Me-Europa means me is from, Europa is Europe. So I not, we know that we don't have a form of to be in the present tense. So I am not is going to be translated with I not. From, Europa means Europe. Ani, I, midrom Amerika. Me, just like me means from. It's just a matter of pronunciation here, because the mem at the beginning, you see this here? The mem at the beginning of the words indicates that it's the preposition me or me, depending on if we have an aleph, a vowel, coming after it, or if we have a consonant here. So ani midrom, drom means south. So I from, and we see in Hebrew we have this in one word. So me, or if we do it the other way around, drom means south. And America means America, of course. So I from South America. Ani midrom Amerika. Ani lo me-Europa, ani midrom Amerika. So as you can see, if we want to negate, which means expressing the negative form of a sentence, we just insert lo. So let's do another example. If we want to say I am a student, we say ani student, right? I am a student. And if we want to say I'm not a student, we would say ani lo student. Yeah, and why did I put the a also in parentheses? Because in Hebrew we don't have an indefinite article either. So whenever we want to say I have a car, I would say I have car, basically. The only thing we have in Hebrew is the definite article. So what is the difference between a definite and an indefinite article? The definite article is, for example, the student, a specific one, and this we render in Hebrew with ha. Ha student. Okay, so ha means the. And if we want to say a student, if it's not a specific one, we only say student. We have no a or no a in Hebrew. No equivalent. We just don't say anything, we just say student or whatever kind of word we use here. But if we have the definite article here, if we want to say the student, we say ha student in one word. Yeah, it's also a kind of a particle, a preposition in this case, if we want to call it this way, because it's yeah, let's say an article that is placed before a noun, basically, like the me or the me. It's fused into one word, basically, from South America, Midrom America. This is why I write it this way, because this way you know that in Hebrew it's written in one word. It's not mi and then drom, it is midrom. It's one word. As you can see here, it's written as one word, midrom, or here, me Europa. Okay, so on to the next. And then Paul asks, me eso ir at. So what might this mean? Well, me eso, me we know already, me means from. So eso, well, you need to know eso. Eso means which. And ir, spelled with an ein here, ir, which is not pronounced, ein, yod, resh, ir. You don't pronounce the ein. Right? It's a placeholder. So ir means city. And at, what was at? At was the feminine singular form of you. Why do we need this here? Because Paul is talking to Daniela. Daniela is a female, so he needs to ask her at. And how would Daniela have asked Paul, which city are you from? She would ask, of course, me eso ir atah, because atah is the masculine singular form of you. And of course, we don't have a verb form of to be in the present tense, and this is why we stop here, because there is no are you or you are. There's just you. So, from which city you or are you? We say me zo ir at. So the new word here is ir, which means city, and eso means which. Okay, and then Daniela answers with mi Buenos Aires. There's nothing much here, nothing much new. Mi means from. In Hebrew, only spelled with the letter mem, which is the equivalent of the M sound in Latin, in the Latin alphabet. So, mi Buenos Aires, from Buenos Aires. And if we, and the longer form, if we want to say, she want to say I am from Buenos Aires, she would of course say ani, mi Buenos Aires. But if we just speak to people, you just answer with from Buenos Aires, and then you of course in Hebrew say also mi Buenos Aires. Alright, so what does Paul say in return? Paul says, ani mi Paris. So, ani, we know already. Ani means I. Mi Paris, me from Paris. And in Hebrew, it is spelled in one word, as you can see here, the mem sound, mi. Then we have P, Resh, Yod, and Z. So, mi Paris. Okay, now we have a new form, a new way of asking questions, which is Haim. This form here, an important form. Haim, Buenos Aires, B. Uruguay. And what does Haim mean? Haim means, is it that? And it's a question. This is used when you ask somebody a yes or no question. And in this case, of course, the answer will be either yes or no. So it's a yes or no question. So if this is the case, we use Haim to basically indicate that we are now asking a yes or no question. So literally it means, is it that Buenos Aires is in Uruguay? Yeah, B means in or at. So B Uruguay means in Uruguay. And the special form here, is it that? Yes, no question. Good, so what is the answer, of course? Well, what does Daniela answer? Well, she says lo, Buenos Aires, lo B Uruguay, Buenos Aires, B Argentina. And we need a period here. So, lo, we just learned what no means. Lo means no. Buenos Aires, not. Lo also means no or not, so it's used for negation. Lo, B Uruguay, in Uruguay. Buenos Aires, B Argentina. This shouldn't be too hard. Just copy this down here. Something happened with the font. Buenos Aires is in Argentina, and since we have no present tense form of to be, there is no form, so we just say Buenos Aires in Argentina. Okay, so this is it for today. If you have any questions or comments regarding this text or this video or anything that was discussed in this video, please drop us an email, info@online-university.education. That's info@online-university.education. And we'll be happy to hear from you and to get your notifications, your comments, your questions, and if there's something you would like us to cover in a future video coaching newsletter, please ask us this question, and if it's of relevance for a broader audience, of course we will answer it gladly and have you participate in the response so that people can learn from what has been discussed in that video. So have a great day, all the best to you, and see you next time. Bye bye.